Hey guys, Devon VP here, commercial and portrait photographer with a YouTube channel. Now, I realize this is super last minute. If you're anything like me, you probably wait until the very last minute to get your friends gifts. It is currently the 21st of December, so we got a few more days. Luckily, Amazon is on our side, and we still have maybe today, maybe tomorrow to get that gift in on time. So I'm just gonna run through this real quickly right here because we don't have much time. Okay. So if you are a friend or a family member or a photographer that you want to get them a gift, but you know little to nothing about photography, and you also don't know exactly where they are in the photography world, what they have, what they're interested in, here's a few things that will help you decide what to get for any photographer of any experience level, and you don't need very much knowledge to do it. Also, a few tips on like what not to get, so maybe you have time to return something. Okay, so starting off, pretty boring but pretty obvious. We're gonna go ahead and do batteries. Where everything we use is powered off electricity, and being able to make sure that we always have power for whatever you want to do decides whether or not we do it. So batteries are super important. When it comes to AA's and AAA's, never get non-rechargeable. Always get rechargeable. There's no point in spending money on non-rechargeable at this point. Get Eneloop batteries. I got a ton of them right here. Just jammed in there. They look pretty too. Pretty high quality.
I didn't get it
Yeah. Here we go. Eneloop batteries. They look pretty. Yeah, bam, right there. Very cool, etc. Doesn't matter. Get those. Those are great. There's a few other options, but I highly recommend Eneloop for AA's and AAA's. Chances are they're going to find most use out of AA's. Other than that, camera batteries are obviously very important and a little more expensive. You're going to be looking at a few different types depending on the camera. Just ask them, text them, and say, hey, what camera model do you have? And they'll tell you, say, Sony A6400, and you just look up Sony A6400 on Amazon, battery, and then you'll likely find it. So it's not that hard. Anyway, of course, everything's going to have links down below, so if you need to look up something, I want to try to help you out with that. Moving on to SD cards. Just like batteries, you can never have too much of those. SD cards are really good. I highly recommend that you get SD cards, not CF cards. You might be the older variety and think that CF cards are still a thing. They kind of still are, but they're being completely phased out. Get SD cards. I highly recommend that you do 64 gigs and up. Never get anything other than that because that's going to be pretty useless. 32 gigs is like it's not going to last a very long time. It's going to be phased out, and they're going to get some bigger ones, and that gift will go away. I'm being told that I'm rambling. Okay, thank you. Camera bags. Camera bags are good, but do not get a big camera bag. If you're a photographer, most photographers are very picky with their camera bags and what they want to use for their daily driver or their main camera bag. I highly recommend instead you get them a small camera bag, because while that might not be or may also be their main camera bag, it could be used for other things if it's a small one. For example, if you want to go ahead and just have something on the side, if you want to do like a small day trip or something, it's nice to have a small camera bag. Most photographers, especially starting out, don't decide to get this bag and that bag. They just wanted the one big bag that does it all, and they never think about actually spending money on the smaller bag. So a small bag would be really good. Even if for a professional that has lots of bags, you can never go wrong. This is one by Peak Design. I highly recommend it. It's good for big cameras and small cameras, just a light amount of gear. If you don't want to spend a little over $100 for this, you can also get an Amazon Basics bag right here. Very simple, a little clunky, but it works for what it does. And if they don't end up using it to carry it, they can use it to store like I currently do right now. So again, small bag, not a big bag. Let's see, moving on. Oh, camera straps. Going back to Peak Design, same makers of this bag. Move this thing out of the way. I have a slew of camera straps. These are all Peak Design ones. These are a little more expensive than average camera straps, but these are the ones that no matter who your photographer, friend, or family member is, they will like and use this. Even if they already have a few of these, there's always reason to have more. Maybe give to your friend, or you're holding a second camera or something, or a second shooter. They might want to use it. So that also, you can get their little, I almost forgot about this. These things. They're these things right here, because you know they're getting more equipment. They're going to start attaching these on. That's if they already have that, if you don't know, or you can add on to it. And well, let me just, ooh, there you go. You can see it right there. No, right there. Ooh, right there. Very perfect. Pretty sure we got that in focus that time. Okay, Moving on, video lights. Very simple, fun gift right here. These are really cheap. You can get them for like about $20. It's just a very simple, takes a very default battery. You might want to have to buy a separate battery or an adapter to it, depending on where you go. Again, links are going to be down below. These are really cheap. It's good for people who like to get into video, but even if they're not into video, photographers, especially new ones, can make good use of this. They can just put it right here, get a nice creative product shot or something. This is a continuous light. And even for me as a professional, who mostly does photo, I still use this as a sort of accent light sometimes, just to have around. And again, it's one of those things that, you know, no matter what level they are, they will keep it and will likely eventually use it at some point. And I wouldn't mind having a few more of these. If you want to spend a little bit more, there's a few more extra creative things, like this thing right here takes the same battery, and it also has colors and stuff. So I'll link that down below as well. All right, double check. I think that's, looking at, a lot of people don't consider the fact that photographers are always on the computer. Half the time they're shooting, or during the time they're shooting, they spend probably about double the time in front of the computer. So let's look at peripherals and things like that. One, I would highly recommend external hard drives. You can't really go wrong with that because they're always going to need more space. If they don't need it now, they will need it later, so they will use that. I get mine usually Seagate ones. I highly recommend just going with a 4 terabyte one, but if they're maybe a little newer and your budget isn't up there, 1 terabyte's fine. Get a little compact one they can keep around. They will use it. I have literally an entire drawer of hard drives. You can't have too many of those. Also, peripherals here. As you can see, I have a flashy keyboard. That's probably not a good gift if you don't really know what they're interested in. But a nice mouse is always nice to have. This is the Logitech MX Master. This is the first generation, so what you'll be looking at, I think, is the second, maybe even third generation now. I'm not too sure. Description down below, obviously. Really nice, really comfortable in the hand for long-term editing processes. Also has a few shortcuts on here to be programmable to make your workflow just a little easier. They're definitely gonna love this. Even if they already have one, would be nice to have two, just in case they have a laptop and they want to bring with them, or a different computer or something like that. So that's about it. A few other tips. Things, do not get them for sure. Do not get them a tripod. Tripods are fickle. It's very hard to find one that's perfect for you unless you know exactly what they want. I don't recommend that. It's just a bit complicated. Take my word for it. I've had a lot of personal issues with tripods. Other than that, filters, terrible gift. Most photographers don't want to use filters, and if they do want to use a filter, it has to be a very specific filter of a specific size by a specific brand. And if you don't know much, or you only know, even if you know a lot, there's a good chance you won't get the exact one that they need. So just stay away from filters to be safe. And last but not least, Amazon gift card. You can't go wrong with that. Most of my stuff that I get from my business and personal use in photography, videography, and otherwise, Amazon is the way to go. It's not very personal, but it's not going to get unused, and they will definitely appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to send this to your friends and family in case you're the photographer looking for a gift. You can just spam this to all your friends and family and say, here, see, it isn't that hard. And then hopefully they'll get you something before Christmas. Also, stay tuned. I have another video about my transition from Canon to Sony that you may like. It's going to happen. It's like pretty much done, so I'm not lying this time. And yeah, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching. Okay, I'm talking fast. I hope they can understand me.